I know. I've been gone for a while. Just trying to get it straightened out here, getting all the quirks worked out. Just bear with me. Yeah, it's been a while since I've been on. Um, since I've made a video. Anyway, I had my gastric sleeve done in April of this year. It went well. Um, I have lost over 100 pounds. Think about it. But is that what the problem is? That is what the problem is. Maybe. I don't know. Oh, that's a little bit better. I'm going to adjust it. But so yeah, I had my gastric sleeve on April 16th of this year. I went in on the 16th, was out on the 18th and home. When I first was started back on food, because you're on liquid for a while, and then, after the surgery, and then you're on liquid, but with things like Jello, um, protein shakes, things like that. Um, and then they start you on food. Um, but that being said, it's only like soft foods and easily digestible foods. And then, eventually you get worked up to just, full. You can have salads, raw veggies, any kind of meat, things like that. Not just softer meats, but some even, harder to digest meats like some pork, that's sometimes a little firmer textured. Um, so when that happened, I started to worry a little bit because I was eating more than what I thought I should be. And I was also on Ozempic. My endo put me on Ozempic, and I'm still on Ozempic. But yeah, right away it was like my hunger or my desire to eat was really strong, and now it's like nothing. Now I don't um, I don't eat much at all. My highest weight, which obviously was before surgery, was 338 pounds. I am at Right now, I am at 200. I was at 199, and then eating Thanksgiving food, eating Thanksgiving food, I ended up gaining 2 pounds. So I went up to 201, and now I am back down to 200. Um, I have a friend that gave me some clothes. I've been getting rid of my clothes because they're just like my pants are totally falling down. They're not staying up. I was in a uh, 3X and some 4X bottoms. Tops, I was in 4X and 5X shirts. I'm now in 2X shirts. I'm big around the midsection. Um, I used to be very, very broad and thick up here, and it's, I mean, I still have a ways to go, but I have a shoulder now, and like my hump back here, my hump is going away, and yeah, I still have this, but it's not as big as what it was. I do have a neck now. um, I didn't have a neck before. I can cross my legs like a lady, when I sit, and I love doing it. Just it feels so good. I have moved the seat in my car up um, a little bit because I was stretching to be able to reach um, the gas pedal, because well, the gas and the brake, because I had to have it back so far to accommodate for my fat gut. Um, yeah, I still have like 50 pounds to go, and I'll get it. Now they say my ideal weight is 120. I don't think I'll ever be that size. But if I hit my goal weight of 150, I'll be happy. um, I'm trying to think what else. Oh, yeah. So, like a 2X shirt. Um, my pants are now, mind you, they're leggings, um, but I'm down to a extra large 1X. Um, in those, and that was from a 3, 4X down to that now. My hips and my knees still hurt. My back still aches. Whew, I can lie down in bed now. Um, it's not as bad. It's still bad, but it's not as bad. I'm getting better with um, steps, but they still give me somewhat of a hard time because of um, my knees and my hips. Um, I've been having some health problems lately, and they're not quite sure what's causing it. And actually, what it is, they think, well, they kind of think that maybe it was my blood pressure, because my blood pressure was going really, really low. The last time it went really, really low, I ended up being admitted to the hospital, and in the ER, it was like 79 over 42. I mean, it was like crazy low. Uh, whew. So one of the blood pressure meds that I'm on, losartan, I was on 25 milligram, and they've got me cutting that in half and only taking 12.5 every day. I also take metoprolol at night because my heart rate tends to just race without it, like in the 100s. It just, and that's like just sitting, it'll just start racing. Uh, Whew, excuse me for all the yawns. As you can see, that hasn't changed. um, what else? I'm just trying to. I'm no longer on insulin. I was on an insulin pump, and I still have the pump, but I'm not using it. And I'm not on insulin at all. I do still take metformin, and they added Jardiance, and as I mentioned earlier, I am on Ozempic. Um, My A1C is doing really good. As a matter of fact, it was just checked the other day, and it was 5.6. So that's doing good. Whew, I do have a lot of um, excess skin on my upper legs, on my thighs, which make them still look big. Um, but I mean, I can just grab like handfuls of loose skin hanging. My butt saggy and droopy on the side here, like on my hips. When I stand up, or lay down, you can feel my hip bones a lot. I can feel them when I lay down. The uh, the, I guess, boniness of them, because the skin, it moves as you move into different positions and whatnot. I've got a lot of droopiness on my arms here, and then like right here. I've got, some of this is still fat up here, but this, all this right here is skin. From what I understand, my insurance will cover a paniculectomy. I do have a lot like on my sides and some in front hanging already. They usually do that about 6 months after you hit your goal weight, so I still got some time. Uh, oh, but they will cover that. My insurance will not cover legs and arms to be done. And from what I understand, arms are about 3,000 a piece, and legs are 5,000 a piece. So that ain't going to happen. um, I'm trying to. I mean, there's just been, it's been so long since I've been on here, and I can't remember what I covered and what I haven't covered, or and like once again, like I said, I know I don't have a lot of viewers, and I'm okay with that. And I know I just get on here and I ramble about bullshit, and I'm okay with that. And it's my channel, and if you're not okay with that, well, the great thing about it is that you don't have to watch me. So, and that's that's fine. It's, I ain't mad. You do you. I'll do me. It's good. My thing is, if one person feels that they can relate now, and if one person feels like, well, I guess, this does happen to other people, then so be it. So be it. Um, Recent events on the news. My God, I can go on for like a decade about this bullshit in the news. These damn Epstein files. Yeah, if you don't want them released, there's a reason. Think about it. Just think about it. If someone was saying that my name was allegedly tied to the Epstein files, I would be the first one out there saying, release those fucking files, because my name isn't in there and you're going to see that. You know, there, there's some battles you just let go, and then there's some battles you can't just let go. And that's one of them. When you're talking about rape and sexual assault, that's not something that you want people to speculate on when it comes to your name being attached to it. That's something that you want to clear. Um, and that's something you would want the proof released, unless you don't look good at it. And that's a different story. Uh, you know, a lot of people can say, well, they they could have said something sooner, or they could have stopped all of that if they really wanted to. Well, coming from someone who was sexually assaulted by a family member, um, I get it. I get it. Um, he was highly respected in the family, highly respected in the church, and I was told on numerous occasions, no one's going to believe you if you say anything. So, you know, just keep your mouth shut, because no one's going to believe you. And so I did, until I felt like I couldn't anymore. And that was after 2 years of it going on. It was from the ages of 12 to the age of 14. When I was interviewed by state troopers, one of the questions that I was asked was, what were you wearing? Were you wearing something revealing, something inappropriate? Uh, Even if I was, what's that fucking matter? It doesn't matter what the fuck I was wearing. It really doesn't. So, anyway, nobody believed me. Um, I told a girl at school who I knew she would tell and say something to somebody at least. And I think that's the reason I told her, because I needed it to be out. Um, Thank you, Mary. uh, Mary told the guidance counselor. I was pulled into the office. I was questioned about it, and I said she was lying. That day after I got home from school, my mom was at work at her second job, and pulls two state trooper cars in the driveway. I came knocking on the door, and of course, I opened the door and I let them in, and they started questioning me about the accusations, and I, told them what had happened, and so they made a report, and then they went and talked to him, and of course, he denied it. I in hindsight, I don't blame my mother. I get where she was coming from. She didn't want to believe that this had happened. And I remember she had sent me to a family member's house, and I remember her saying, I don't care if you have to beat it out of her, you make her say that it's all a lie and none of that happened. And they didn't, and I didn't say that I lied and that none of it happened. And after a couple of days, I went back home, and the things were still tense, and there was still no speaking, unless it was, rude comments or yelling or anger in some way. Um, I had some family members that would not allow me to come to their house anymore because they said I might make up the same lie on them. Uh, his wife actually told me, they lived close by, and she was outside, and she had me come over and sit down next to her on her swing, and she said, I just want you to know I believe you. And that's all she had to say for, both of us to know what she was referring to. And I said, well, why do you believe me? Because, like I said, nobody else did. And she said, I'm married to him. I know what he's like. So it came time to go to um, state police barracks to do some polygraph test, and he refused to take his. And they explained to him that his refusal is basically an admission of guilt, and he said, I understand that. So they finished, I guess, with the investigation, and a couple weeks later, I got a letter in the mail from him, and he was saying that in the letter, he said that he knows what he did to me was wrong and that he shouldn't have done it, and that he was sorry for doing it and putting me through all of that, and yada, yada, yada. Uh, and, for some reason, I kept that stuff. And when I became 18 and I moved out, well, I was 19, I think, when I moved out. Um, I left that stuff there. My mom held on to those things for me throughout the years because, mom was like home base. If you wanted something saved and held for you, you gave it to mom and she would do just that. Um, so, after she died, I was going through the house, and cleaning everything up. I came across this folder that had the police report and notes from the psychologist and that letter. And I remember at one point they tried to send me to a psychologist, and I told them, I'm not the one that's got the sick fucking problem. He is. You need to send him to see one. And then at one point, it was relayed from his psychologist to the one that they wanted me to see that the reason he did it was because there was no sexual activity or sexual intimacy between him and his wife anymore. And my response to that was, well, I gave him $20 to go downtown, down to Wheeling and give himself a whore. He didn't need to do that to me. And my thing was, I knew if I didn't say anything, it wasn't ever going to stop. And I knew if I didn't say anything and he was allowed to get away with it longer, that opens the door and gives him the opportunity to do it to other family members, younger cousins, um, that would be coming up within a couple years, to those teenage years when they're developing. And I thought, no, we can't. No, we're not going to do that. So, but anyway, bottom line, it's amazing the hold that the assailants will have over their victims. And one way or another, there is some sort of controlling hold. Um, with my situation, his wasn't money, but it was, I guess, respect and whatever, that people had for him, with Epstein and Trump, it was money. Money was the power they had over those girls. And, who would have believed them against Donald Trump, Jeffrey Epstein, and anyone else, Bill Clinton, or anyone else who is named in those Epstein files? All of them. And, I even think it needs to be taken to the point of, um, not just those that were active participants, um, in the assaults, but those who knew about the assaults and didn't say anything. For example, his IT guy that used to fly in and take a boat to his island where a lot of this stuff took place. And, um, he said he knew that there were, things going on. And, I'm sure there was a lot of video and picture uh, evidence that the IT guy would have seen and came across. I find it hard to believe that he wouldn't have. I don't buy that at all. So, people like him and others who knew, even if they didn't know exactly what it was, they knew that there was something not right going on. Why are these young girls hanging out at Jeffrey Epstein's house? Hmm. The emails that are coming out from Epstein's brother Mark, just disgusting. If it does not make you throw up a little bit in your mouth, then mm, you're terrible. Yeah. So anyway, I guess that's all that I have to rant or go on about today for now. I'm going to try to get back into doing videos on a regular basis. Things have just been like crazy insane lately, and um, trying to get my shit together here. But anyway, um, that's that. If anyone can relate, I welcome all comments. I will not welcome hate messages. There's a difference between constructive criticism and hate messages. And, I'm a firm believer in everyone being able to voice their opinion, even if their opinions differ from mine. But we're not going to get slanderous, and we're not going to talk shit, and we're not going to go on with rhetoric. And, once again, it goes back to the same thing. It's my channel, and if you don't like my content, the wonderful thing about this country that we luckily still have as of now, don't know how long it's going to last, but you do have that freedom to just keep scrolling and to not view any content on my channel. I hope that you don't, and you do stop and listen at least for a few minutes. But if you don't, you don't. not, I'm not in it trying to make money. I'm just trying to, do me. And if it helps someone else be able to do you, then it's worth it. So anyway, on the flip side, I hope everyone stays well. Take care of yourselves. I don't know where everyone is, obviously, but I am in uh, an area of the country that is getting very cold, and I can't deal with it. I don't like it. We're supposed to have a pretty big snowstorm, I guess, tonight. So we'll see. We'll see what it brings. I went to the store today. We're stocked in. We're good for a couple of weeks. So anyway, I hope everyone is well. I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. Um, we'll catch y'all again the next time. I hope y'all have the day that you deserve. Bye.